Hey everybody, good morning, Charles Moffat. Guys, I did a video the other day about macaroni and cheese. I eat a lot of macaroni and cheese and I've made several videos, and I had some people comment. They said that macaroni and cheese was very bad for you, and that was a big surprise to me. I try to keep up on health issues and wasn't aware of this, so I did some more research into what people were talking about. And the people indicated that the macaroni and cheese has a lot of phthalates in it. And I looked it up. The phthalates are endocrine disruptors and are linked to some other issues. So I decided to do a deeper dive, and I found a couple of studies. And one of the best places, or the best article I've seen on describing the issues with macaroni and cheese, specifically and phthalates, was this one by the site at Examine. They have a very detailed article. I'm going to leave a link to this article and a link to the study that they're talking about. Evidently, earlier in the year, there was a study released that indicated that the macaroni and cheese that they tested had a lot of phthalates. If you don't know what phthalates are, basically it's a plasticizer. Years ago, when plastic first came out, they used camphor, which is a very smelly chemical, to allow plastics to be molded and softened. But camphor is really nasty, smelly stuff. So in the 30s, they came up with phthalates, and it was something that was used in everything, and it's been in our society ever since. And it's very, very common. It's in food. But it's also in furniture and flooring and all sorts of household products and so on. And it's actually kind of a confusing subject. Let's go into detail here. The article starts off saying the absolute minimum you need to know in 50 words or less: boxed macaroni and cheese is high in phthalates because of plastic involved in processing, plus fat content. Phthalates definitely cause concern, especially for infants and expecting females. But threshold doses aren't known. It's surprisingly easy to get high doses of phthalates from food, especially in the U.S. When you have macaroni and cheese, the cheese powder is packaged in these little plastic packs, and I think over time the phthalate doesn't really stick to the plastic permanently. It does tend to migrate, and it can bleach off into your food. That's one of the main ways that the phthalates would get into your cheese powder. And it says packaged foods, which are the main source of high molecular weight phthalates, and they can also off-gas from flooring and furniture, potentially linked to allergy and asthma. So it also says measuring phthalate levels in foods is very difficult, and different brands of the same food can have different phthalate levels. And measurement is prone to error because of contamination from plastic lab equipment and so on. However, in 2012, there was a large study by a Belgian outfit called Vito, and that was one of the earlier studies that was peer-reviewed. Now, there have been some interesting developments. There was a very large unplanned exposure in Taiwan where they accidentally released the phthalate into a lot of products. And it says in 2011, over 2 months that spring, they were added to around 1,000 products in Taiwan, about a fifth which were shipped to other countries. The good news, and I'm happy to have some good news here, phthalates don't build up in the body. But the bad news, some of the people tested had 10-fold increase in phthalates above the upper intake set by food organizations, and nobody knows what this does to you. Also, they didn't realize it, but they recently found out that phthalates are bound up very tightly, or are not bound up very tightly to the plastic, and so they leach out. And when they do, they interact with other chemicals. A lot of times, these other chemicals don't cause a problem, but in some case, there's like a synergy where they react and work together to cause problems. In one case, that's polysorbate, which is in a lot of foods, polysorbate 80 to be exact. It's an emulsifier that's something that causes fat and water to combine. You have it in ice cream and in a lot of different products. You have emulsifiers. So the problem is the polysorbate 80 can help you double the amount of some of the worst types of phthalates that are linked to bad health effects. Now, there is, because uh, a lot of kids eat macaroni and cheese, and we know when kids are exposed to toxins, it's much less healthy for them than when somebody's 80, or 70, because they're still forming their body. Things are growing, and when you have chemicals and disruptors, it's not good for them, or infants, even worse. So it said, and little kids, they love macaroni and cheese. I had a niece and nephew, that's all they would eat. Um, it said the current report found that powdered cheese in these boxes had more than 4 times higher than phthalate levels than natural unprocessed cheeses. All the varieties contained high phthalate levels, including organic varieties. But it gets complicated. Now, you would think, well, just eat less packaged foods. That's what they tell you all the time. Eat plants, don't eat packaged foods, you'll be fine. But when they did research, they found in some cases that people actually had higher levels of phthalate levels. So, like, what's going on? And they said, well, you can guess one of the culprits here was dairy fat. They said the milk and cream in the study end up having much higher phthalate levels than dairy fat in previous studies, which means that predicting phthalates intake can be rife with error. The other culprit was, strange enough, coriander. A couple of the dinners that study participants ate had coriander spiced chicken in them, and the coriander in the study happened to have sky-high phthalate concentrations. So here that you would be just blaming your macaroni and cheese, and you're getting your healthy plants, you're putting in some coriander, herbs. Everybody tells you herbs are superfoods, and it's giving you a super amount of phthalate. So the end result of the study was astounding. Subjects had 100 times higher phthalate levels than even the highest percentiles of phthalate in the general population. These levels went back to normal after the study, but it makes you wonder, could someone eat a fairly healthy diet but still have sky-high phthalate levels from just a couple of problematic packaged foods? The problem is compounded by the unpredictable phthalate content of some foods. Now, here's where it gets even more weird. Freezing beef lowers phthalate content, but freezing fish seems to increase it. Cooking decreases the phthalates in most foods except for vegetables. Chicken has higher levels than other meats, and nobody knows which spices in which packages types have high levels. Now, bread doesn't have much fat in it, but was pegged as the leading source of phthalates in Belgian people. Are you getting a little bummed out? I am. It says, we do know that dairy fat and cooking oils in plastic containers are susceptible to having high levels, and that yogurt has lower levels than butter and cream. That's because foods that are higher in concentrated fat tends to store the fat, leaving high molecular weight phthalates like DEHP. So, what are some of the really big problems? The infants who eat a typical diet can easily exceed the EPA's reference dose of phthalates, as can adolescents who eat a lot of dairy and meat. This is not good, as high exposures in little tykes has been linked to behavioral issues and allergic conditions. Adults can also overconsume phthalates given the right combination of foods, and high levels have been linked to lower testosterone production in men and endometriosis and risk in women. So, bottom line, what can you do? Number 1, consider using glass more often. You get rid of plastic. Number 2, don't base your diet on packaged foods. Message to Rob. Stop using 3 boxes of macaroni and cheese a week. Number 3, diversify your diet. Number 4, learn the precautionary principle, which is when an activity raises threats of harm to the environment or human health, precautionary measures should be taken, even if some cause and effect relationships are not fully established scientifically. So, I love macaroni and cheese. I will continue to eat macaroni and cheese. I will eat much less of macaroni and cheese, and I will try more and more often to use less and less plastic in my cooking or storing of food. But there again, it's also in furniture, it's in flooring and other things, so you want to be on the lookout for phthalates. So I'm going to leave a link to the study, and you guys can check this out yourself. And I love macaroni and cheese, but you just I was thinking maybe if you freeze the packets of the macaroni and cheese, it might decrease the migration of the phthalates into the cheese powder. Because some of these macaroni and cheese, they've gotten really good. They've gotten much better at their ingredients. Look here, no artificial preservatives, no artificial flavors, no artificial dyes. This is a good product, but the packaging might be a problem. I'm not saying it is. This is not a condemnation of any food item or group that's on my list here. I'm just saying the study says there might be some issues. You guys want to be on the lookout and make up your own mind, but it might be something to think about. So I put on new videos every week. I've been doing it for 16 years. Got over 1,300 videos, and it's a variety channel. You never know what you're going to find. A variety channel is when a person makes a video that you like, and next week he makes a different one, and you unsubscribe because you hate it. So that's my variety channel. So stay tuned. Come back next week. Hope we have more and see you out there.